Yeah. Put the cameras on me.
I'm living the dream. I'm in love with the lights. This is not just a game. This here is my life. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah.
I'm coming clutch, no stick shift. OZone.
Hello, everybody. Live from Koreatown on a lovely 75-degree spring day. It's the OZone. I'm your host, Omar Miller. I'm here with my brother, Terry Miller, who's incensed about some misbehavior that he watched this weekend. What's going on over there, icons, with the Giants hat on?
Let's get into it. Forget about the Giants. We get into what we need to get into right now.
Okay, well, let's get
go,
straight
Randy
away.
Piper.
Yeah, when I get you in that square circle on
We need to
Sunday,
get into
Randy
the square
Piper.
circle.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to commend Showtime because Showtime Boxing put on a great card this weekend. And a lot of people didn't feel like it was a great card. Some people didn't feel like it was a great card because the first two fights weren't necessarily competitive, but I thought they were great in the sense that they showed the next generation, and they showed how dangerous that next generation can be, and I appreciated that. And then we actually had a great fight for the main event. It was the Broner Vargas card. It was Adrian Broner, aka AB, about billions, or I'd like to refer to him as All Bad, versus Jesse Vargas. We'll get to that fight, but let's start off at the beginning of the card. You know, Floyd Mayweather Promotions protege Gervonta Tank Davis fought in the opening fight, and he actually looked like the phenom that everybody thought he was going to be. He was refocused, he was retuned, and he even said as much after the fight. He defeated Jesus Cuellar, who's, you know, not the highest level of competition that you can have.
He looked terrible.
He looked pretty bad.
Slow.
Yeah.
Soft.
Yes.
Looked like cookie dough.
Wow. Tell him how you really feel. And but Jesus was there to fight, and he did try he did try his very best, but he got the TKO'd in the third round. Took some tremendous body shots.
He did, but you know what? I always wonder about guys like him who have the size advantage, reach, and everything else. Why is it that they don't stick to their strengths? Why would you get into that little crab position? Why wouldn't you stand out there and pop your jab and establish something to get somebody like Tank off of you? Because Tank was a problem.
Tank was on him. He started off popping the jab. He started off acting like he was trying to make some noise.
You knew it wasn't real.
More importantly, Tank knew it wasn't real.
Tank knew it wasn't real.
Tank knew it wasn't real.
He knew he would abandon it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. He knew that he would abandon, and it didn't work out the right way. But I'm happy for Tank because Tank actually, in my opinion, Tank came to play, and he came and he showed something in that fight. He showed that he recognized, hey, you know what? I wasn't all the way there in my last fight. I lost my belt on the scale, and he said he was humbled by that.
Yeah, which was completely unacceptable. And he's a young man that looked like he learned from his mistakes,
which is commendable.
Yes, very much so.
And this is what I mean. I actually like that. It's rare that you see these guys who actually say, you know what, I messed up and I'm going to do better.
I'm getting refocused.
And it's even more rare that they do get refocused and then they comment on that. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. It was great to see.
It was great to see. And he was super duper humble.
Yeah, he took a slice of humble pie, came back, and won.
And won.
It looked impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and looked like he was supposed to look. Now, Jesus Cuellar is no Lomachenko.
No.
And I think that this still may be a little bit too soon, but we're about to find out. He
looked great, though. I think that he would definitely be competitive, but Lomachenko doesn't have pop, and he hasn't had enough fights. Gervonta hasn't either. But I think that Gervonta has thunder. He hits hard.
He does hit hard, but Lomachenko has footwork for that ass.
Yeah,
and what ends up happening is
he would stay with the jab.
And he is completely disciplined. He stays with whatever it is that works to confuse you into quitting.
Yes.
And he's got enough pop. Actually, I don't agree with that. Loma gets a lot of leverage on his punches.
I don't feel like he has pop like that.
I don't know, man.
This is 10, 15 fights I haven't seen.
Yeah, not even 15. I think it's 10-1, 9-1, something like that. But we saw a lot of promising activity, with Tank there. So I'm you know what? I'm pretty pumped up about that. I hate the fact that they're going to have to fight there straight away, but hey, it is what it is. And then the second fight was also somebody else, which is interesting. The Charlo brothers are making a lot of noise. And although they're making a lot of noise outside the ring, they're backing it up at this point inside of the ring. And they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're talking loud. They're twin brothers. And they go in there. You see the other brother in the arena going absolutely ham every single time they fight. And I love that.
Right.
I absolutely love that.
Right.
It's not a matter of if, just a win. And in this one, this was a second round TKO. Them Houston boys out there, real flamboyant with it. And this was Jermell Charlo and Jermall Charlo, sorry. And he he made quick work of a skinny Hugh Centeno Jr. Another skinny, slow dude.
And not even slow.
Yeah, it was sway me now. Yeah. And he tried to keep him off of him. But for some reason, that guy decided he wanted to slug with Charlo, which was a bad decision, obviously.
Poor choice.
Yeah, poor choice. Problem I can see with Charlo, with both of the Charlo brothers, is that they're not getting enough rounds.
Yeah.
So that when they start facing A-level opponents, it's going to be a different animal, and we won't know if they have that dig down or not.
Right. And this is very, very important to be battle tested like that when you want to step in there with the triple Gs and everything.
Well, and he had the nerve to say, two-time world champion, bring on GGG. I want the title belt, bring on GGG. What they call him, GGG?
You know he's playing games. You know if you want his belt, you should know his name.
You know his belts.
Belts. And he keeps his belts.
Exactly. And you know what? This is a whole different world. Gennady Golovkin is no Hugh Centeno.
No.
And honestly, I haven't seen enough from Charlo to think that he would be able to go more than 6 rounds.
Me either. And I want to see him take a body shot from Triple G and then see how he reacts to that, because usually that's the telltale. Guys get hit in their body and they're like, what in the world is going on?
There's that. And then also the other side that I see is the fact that you see these guys and they slug and they can bang. Same thing happened with Canelo. They hit him with everything that they got, and he snaps his head back like a robot and keeps coming forward. That's just discouraging.
It is, and he's saying to you, like, this is what I came here for.
That's all you got?
I needed to test it.
I needed to feel it, and I felt it.
And I feel like I can walk through you at this point.
Exactly. So now I got to chase you down. You're going to run all night. I got to chase you down. And I'm willing to take this punishment to punish you. Now,
and your career would never be the same.
It won't. And except unless you are the most dangerous person in the middleweight division, which is Danny Jacobs. In my opinion, Danny Jacobs is the most dangerous dude out there at 160.
Maybe they should change his name.
And to
Dangerous Danny Jacobs.
Oh, you like that? I like the Miracle Man. I like the
dangerous.
Not me. I like the fact that he beat cancer, so I'm going to stick with the Miracle Man. And, Charlo was talking reckless to Gennady, to Jacobs before this fight.
He's not ready to fight.
He's been talking crazy, and Danny told him just that. He said, stay down, young brother. You get your chance. You're going to get your chance, and it ain't going to be what you wanted.
Danny will knock him out just like Triple G would, probably within 6 rounds.
And I
wouldn't doubt if he knocked him out in the first round, because Danny plays like that.
Danny's willing to trade.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's willing to get knocked out. What
can you do?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I wanted to talk about that a little bit, but we'll get into that after we get to the main event. But there wasn't much to analyze in these first 2 fights, folks. We just saw sharp performances by Tank Davis and by Charlo, and a very serious cheering section that included world champion and high on the pound-for-pound list, Earl Spence Jr.
Yeah.
And Charlo at 154. I mean, they call it strap season. These dudes are in a position where they can potentially run the table if they can step up, because Spence has 147 on lock, in my opinion, especially unless Thurman heals up. And then you have younger Charlo at 154, which I actually think could give Canelo a good fight at 54.
Yeah.
But I think Canelo wins, to be honest, depending on whether or not,
if he's on the juice or not.
It's so hard to call now. It's so hard to call with the juice. And then
I think that one of the things that happens with the juice more so than anything is that you lose your confidence, and I want to see Canelo bounce back after that. Because I feel like that he's probably been on it for a little while and never really got his feet put to the coals, and so now that he's been tested like this, when he actually has to get in there, he's going to have to say, can I do it for real without the help of this substance?
Wow,
it's a big question.
Speaking of that, I felt like Paulie Malignaggi had great analysis, just to sidebar into Canelo really quick. Felt like Paulie Malignaggi had great analysis of the commission's decision to suspend Canelo for 6 months with a small fine. Let's
slap
see what
on
he
the
had to
wrist.
say.
The 6-month suspension that Canelo got. What do you make of all that?
I'm not gonna get into it, man. Please, this
There's
is
been a
this
lot of
fucking
mixed results from
joke.
people.
Yeah, come on. You know what you do? I tell you what you do. You gotta give. Listen, if you give a 6-month suspension, okay, with no fine and no consistent drug testing after that, what's the fucking point? The guy can just go home right now and dope. He could be doping up right now for all we know. He's suspended. He's not getting tested. He's not doing anything. Okay, the way you handle that, if you want to give a 6-month suspension and let it play out, you fine him. You give a 6-month suspension, and then you put him on a 2-year probationary period where he's consistently and strongly random drug tested throughout the next 2 years. And if he fails any of those tests in the next 2 years, you add 2 or 3 years to that suspension. So then it becomes a 2.5-year suspension. But you know why they won't do that? Because they don't want to actually catch Canelo's cheating. Because if, God forbid, you catch this guy cheating again and you got to suspend him for 2-3 years, then you all lose money and it's a big problem. So nobody actually wants to fix.
Testing in Mexico.
Yes, that's why he missed time the cycle.
Surprise.
He missed time the cycle. He didn't expect him to show up in Mexico. You know what I mean? He didn't expect them to come show up in Mexico. So he thought like, okay, I'm gonna get to Vegas. By this point, it's gonna clear my system. Nah, my man, we came and surprised you. But I'll tell you what, that's about the time you start testing for a May 5th fight. It's early September, early February, right? So this guy was doing it during his time off, which is the problem in general for if you don't have year-round random drug testing. These guys are gonna do it during their time off consistently. So part of this suspension problem should be 6 months suspension, 2-year probationary period where you're drug tested all the time, consistently, randomly, consistently for the next 2 years. And if you fail that one, you get a 2-year suspension. They're not gonna.
You know what? I'm fully on board with Paulie on this one. And he's upset, and I can tell he's upset. One of the reasons is because Paulie can never knock anybody out,
Right.
and he would have benefited
He's a
from
soft tosser.
But he would have been, but he was a good fighter.
Yeah.
I can't front on Paulie on any level. Yeah.
It's not a problem that you can't lay the thunder on him.
Yeah, but
He was fundamentally sound.
But he's getting hit by guys that are,
This is where I disagree with him because I feel like they should put incorporate some of the baseball principles. If you get caught, then pretty soon you are out of the league. Get him out of there. Don't let him fight with these guys because you can kill somebody. Literally.
That's murder.
We heard it already.
We heard it from Deontay.
He told us it's murder.
It's murder. Hey, you're right. And Amir Khan actually came out and said exactly that. Amir Khan came out and said, hey, Canelo should be kicked out of the league. He should be drummed out forever. We shouldn't have him anymore. So that's a side note on that. Now, with that, Canelo's probably at home juicing, healing up, and getting ready for what will still be the biggest fight of the year, which is going to be the Triple G Canelo rematch, which I imagine now will take place in October or something like that, maybe September.
I think it's September
because they made it retroactive, so they'll be probably right around Labor Day.
It's supposed to be. Is it not Mexican Independence Day? But it was a Mexican holiday. I do believe that.
Really?
Yeah, that they're supposed to be building it around.
I'm not up on my Mexican history holidays, so they got me on this one. I don't know when it is, but I know that with the way that they have that, it's going to be with the way that the suspension is retroactive. It'll be there'll be plenty of time for them to still fight. But what we wanted to speak to you about in particular was the main event. Now, in the main event, Jesse Vargas, who actually is a very sound fighter, very, very fundamentally sound fighter, and a really nice guy, came out and did his work. And Adrian Broner had a new cornerman, a new trainer in Keith Cunningham, who actually gave him great advice. Obviously, he gave him great advice throughout the camp, but more importantly, what we could see is he gave him great advice in the corner.
Right.
And he told him, you got to fight. You got to let your hands go. You keep letting off one punch like you're satisfied, and there's more punches available, and you're not taking them. That's not acceptable. And he kept telling him. Honestly, after 7 rounds, I had to fight 6-1, maybe 7-0.
I had it 7-0, and even the 8th was questionable.
The eighth is actually when Broner came on, in my opinion.
Yeah, he came on, but it wasn't like he completely dominated that round.
I don't know. I think the 8th and 9th he definitely dominated, and somehow or another he squeaks out a draw. Now, in my opinion, I had put it up during the fight, during the broadcast, that I thought he was going to need at least a knockdown just to get a draw, let alone a win. He never got that knockdown, but he did come on late. I will say Adrian Broner, as usual, can take a punch. He just takes too many punches. And
not busy enough. He did not win that fight. That's the bottom line.
I don't think he won the fight. I don't think he won the fight because he didn't do enough late. But
I don't think he didn't win the fight because the promoters were against him. He won the fight. He didn't win the fight because he didn't fight enough.
Until late.
It was too late. He was buried. He needed a knockout.
From the 8th to the 12th, I'll give him 8 to 12. I don't even know if I can give him all of those, but I give him 8 to 12. Even if you split it up, I
thought he
still had
lost the
Jesse.
11th.
I still had Jesse winning the fight. I had 7-5 if you don't fancy even rounds, but really I had the fight 6-4-2 for Jesse Vargas. But the real story isn't that Adrian Broner finally lets his hands go and he finally got himself back together and this, that, and the other. The real story are the antics before and after the fight for Adrian Broner. Before the fight, at the press conference, he did something that I actually wasn't mad at. It was a bit crude, but I wasn't mad at it, where he called out Leonard Ellerbe, Mayweather Promotions, and everybody else in the room as being fake and actually not wanting to see him shine, almost giving a wink to recognizing that he's a sideshow and that he hasn't had himself together, and yet this is his last chance for romance. I appreciated that because there's way too much faking going on in every industry, but especially in anything that has anything to do with entertainment.
And it sounded like he had got his piece of humble pie, and he was willing.
It sounded like that.
Yeah, but he tricked us again.
And I tell you, he's the Academy Award for Best Actor in a supporting role for coonery. Goes to
AB, you know what I'm saying?
Well, he did it again, and unfortunately, after the fight is when everything went left, even more so than before the fight. You know, he had the beef with the rapper guy from Brooklyn before the fight and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But after the fight, I mean, things literally went all bad for AB, whether he knows it or not. He tried to snatch the microphone from Jim Gray.
Why would you do that? Jim Gray is not a fighter. He's an announcer. He's an analyst.
He completely disrespected Jim Gray about his clothes and about this, that, and the other. It was like somebody had told him, hey, go put extras on it. And he decided that he was going to be completely over the top.
That somebody was himself. I think he's talking to himself. He might be a little punchy.
I think he has CTE. I think he will develop CTE.
Or PTSD or something.
He's been hit way too many times. And you couple that with the idea that obviously he's not the most intelligent dude walking. But what can you do? I was incensed. And this is the last I'm going to report on Adrian Broner, actually, because this guy, he lost me. He lost me with all of this. Here we go.
All right, Mo. Thank you very much.
Hey, man, fuck all that. Fuck all that. Man, let me see the mic. Hey, I beat
Hold on.
I beat your ass. Look at his face. It look like I beat him with that beat Martin Luther King with, man.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm an honest man. We went at it for 12 rounds. That's
No,
what
you
it was.
go at it. That's gay.
We can do it again.
Go at it. It's gay. I beat your ass.
We can do it again.
I beat your ass like you stole something. I beat your ass like you got suspended from school. I beat your ass like you stole my dog's ass, nigga.
We can go get some more if you want.
Huh? You
heard me.
You bruised up.
I'm ready to fight right now, fool.
Come on, man. Your face cut up. You need peroxide. You need peroxide and alcohol.
You need to settle down.
You need peroxide and alcohol. What? Your face on 6'9" right now. You a blood?
All right.
Terrible work from Adrian Broner.
Poorly played.
Stale jokes. Bad punchlines. Poor timing. And
You're taking his Academy Award away.
And then, I think you gotta Weinstein him. And then, hold on a second, there's more.
In my town, you know, I want to fight him where I'm from. There's hella Mexicans and shit in here. Everybody keep booing me and shit. They want rice and chicken. I want some motherfuckers that want some conies around me.
All right. Adrian, thank you.
Jim Gray didn't even know what to do with that. If you guys go look up that clip, you'll see Jim Gray's face, and he's like,
Are you kidding?
And Mr. Watson from the promotion company looked in the back like, what? He looked like he wanted to steal on Adrian Broner.
He's like, he's bringing me down.
And let me tell you the truth, guys. There's no space in the game for racism.
There's no space in the game of life for that.
No, there's not. Because, honestly, if we look at it, and if Gennady Golovkin came out and said, no, I want to go to fight Kazakhstan. Here, it's all of the black people. They want to fry chicken and watermelon. I want to be around people who want Kazakh food. The world would be in an uproar.
Right.
You know, if this was in any, and honestly, I think that the networks and everybody, they have to recognize that the complicity in this as well. It's kind of like the situation with the difference between freedom of speech and hate speech. You know, it's the whole you can't yell fire in a movie theater kind of thing. And this guy's perspective and thinking that it's okay to use this to sell or to acquire is unacceptable. And this is why you never have to worry about me including speaking on Adrian Broner anymore after this. I'll just report the results of his thing. He gets no burn from the Ozone, no promotion. Sorry. So what were you gonna say?
No, I don't even think that it's him not, knowing what he's doing. It's just a lack of discipline. It's it's a lack of moral character. He has a problem, an issue. Obviously, he's probably bipolar, but that's still not acceptable. You can't go around ranting and raving. And first of all, you lost the fight.
First and foremost, you lost the fight.
Anybody can go back and look at that fight and see he lost the fight. You can't throw that on anybody else. That's you. You were in the ring. Your coach was telling you, your manager, your trainer was telling you in the fight, you need to throw punches. And he didn't do it. Don't come out and be irresponsible. This is another microcosm of society and this new generation where nobody accepts responsibility. He needs to accept responsibility. And then he also needs to accept responsibility and come out and apologize to everybody for what he's done and what he said. I'm not even a PC type of guy, but he's completely out of pocket. And there's no room for being out of pocket like that. You can't go around and just, generalize or any of this kind of stuff, trying to put people down and everything because of my fault. That's his fault. It's his bad.
And I don't even think it's his fault or bad that he does this from. I fear that this is actually honest, that this is his actual honest feeling about things, which is what's most disturbing.
Which is even worse. I mean, a guy that can think like that and then just like a gumball machine, just drop it from his brain to his tongue and just speak it into existence and act like it's cool. Then how does a guy like him feel when he's walking away from getting in his expensive car and driving away from the arena? Was he feeling himself then? Was he still saying to himself, I gave it to him?
I'm sure, because he received his payday.
And that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, he received his payday. He goes home with his kids, and I hope he's not teaching his children this buffoonery as well. And then let's go back to the history element of it. I'm assuming he meant Rodney King instead of Martin Luther King, but this is the punch drunkiness of the situation. And you know what? I'm not even going to spend much more time with this bonehead. And I've said it before. I think Broner's been crying out for help. He seemed like he got himself together. Then he knocked a civilian out in Vegas. This kind of situation, very rarely have we ever seen this end in a positive way.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. And overall end, not just end, I'm not just talking about his boxing career. And he seems like the kind of individual that you keep hearing it too I keep hearing it from all sorts of sources. No, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. When you talk to him, it's a show. I can't accept that kind of a show because not only is there no space for the racism, you know what? You embarrass the race with stuff like that.
You sure do. And not only that,
you embarrass everybody who's ever had any kind of dignity and integrity about being proud to be black, about being proud to be ethnic, about doing the right thing, about any sort of righteousness, about any sort of protest, boycott, sacrifice, and then you come up with this.
Well, and all these young people on social media saying that he doesn't, nobody looks up to him. That's not the point, because the point is that he has a platform to speak, and he's using it the wrong way. And he doesn't, even if you don't agree with the outcome, you don't have to spew that poison out there.
No, you can disagree with the outcome. I'm all fine with that.
Yeah.
But you don't need to disagree with the outcome with that as your approach.
Yeah. It's not acceptable.
Unbelievable.
I don't want to report on him. I don't even want to, I don't want to hear nothing about him. It's unfortunate because he's just, to me, he's a person of bad character, and it's just not acceptable.
And you know what? Maybe we'll get lucky and he'll fight Mikey Garcia again, and Mikey will beat the crap out of him again.
Why don't he do something really dumb and go up there and fight Triple G or something, just so he can just ruin his career? Period.
Well, I don't think you have to worry about that. He's friends with all the guys that would beat him up, other than Triple G. And besides that, I don't think he'll go up 4 weight classes and 3 weight classes.
He's might be dumb enough to do it though.
I don't know. Anyways, let's see. After he calms down and the camera is off and it's just the microphones, let's hear what he had to say then.
You know what? It's up to my advisors, Al Heyman, Guadalupe Valencia. I'm willing to run it back again if Broner wants to, and then I'm willing to.
If you want to.
Let's do it then.
So there you go. All right, guys. Come on, guys. We gotta go. When have I ever ran from somebody?
So is there going to be a rematch?
It seemed to me. All right, we gotta go. We gotta go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, let's go.
What's that? Both of them. Is that how you saw the fight?
Yeah. That's how I do. That's how I do when I chase on the women I want.
So is there going to be a rematch, Adrian?
Of course. I ain't tripping. My shoes tied, and sometimes I ain't even got laces.
So you want a rematch?
Let's do it.
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah.
When you heard the first score was close, what did you think?
I'm a winner.
So you didn't think there was?
I know I was a winner, but me knowing the game, I knew they was gonna try to pull something. I done cussed out the promoter.
Talk to him in death forever. Let's go.
Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's go.
AB, do you think it was a close fight, though?
Honestly, I beat him 7-5. That's all honesty. My time out on box.
How much of a difference was Chris back then? Let's go.
Huh? Very different. This is just the first fight with Kevin. You know, it was a very different training camp, and I felt great. As you can see, I'm clean as a whistle. I ain't got a scratch on me. I look good. I look like I just walked in the ring. He fucked up. He probably got to spend the night in the hospital.
Why do you think the judges gave him the rounds they did?
I mean, who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe if my skin complexion was a little lighter, I have lesser taxes.
Adrian, he seemed very tired in the second.
This guy.
This is unbelievable.
Whereas in real life, if we want to go over it, Adrian Broner has gotten the benefit of the doubt in every single scenario where he could. And it's all because he's with Mayweather Promotions.
Pretty much.
And he got this fight because he's with Mayweather Promotions. He got the crap beat out of him by Mikey Garcia. He got the crap beat out of him by Chino Maidana. And that kid Adrian Granados beat him, and they gave him the decision. And then on top of that, after he loses every time, he's right back fighting for some sort of a title that they make up for him so that they can continue to try to stuff him down the public's throat because he's a coon, because he's willing to tap dance for the man, and also
Uncle Tom and everything else.
The whole nine, and also because they've invested money in him, and in the investing of the money in him, they're now trying to make sure that they get that money out of him, and they don't care if he gets beat to a pulp or whatever else.
Yeah, but you know what? Boxing, this is another problem with boxing being unorganized because there has to be some kind of punishment for things like this. Okay, I can understand selling the fight. This is after the fight. This is him. This is not even him trying to sell part 2 of that. This is him being a bad person.
This is just him. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
And so there has to be some kind of sanctioning body or something that can step in and say, you know what? You're out of line. We're going to censor you for, 6 months or something, as if they were doing it, as if he was on the juice or something. There needs to be some kind of punishment. Obviously there's not, but there needs to be something there to hold these guys accountable.
Well, and this is boxing, though, so people are actually fine with that. People are fine with there not being anything, and it's just, ultimately, it's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. But coming up this weekend, we got another interesting. Our man is back. The Miracle Man is back. Danny Jacobs fights this weekend against Masij Sulecki. And I'm really excited for Danny to just get more rounds and just to get in the ring. This dude is undefeated that he's fighting, and it should be a really good card. It's going to be on HBO, on the home team, on HBO Boxing, I do believe, a Premier Boxing Championship. And he also get to see Jarrell Big Baby Miller, one of the heavyweights out there looking to do damage.
Yeah,
he's going to be on that card. Yeah. Ever since we ran into him, I know you're very interested in seeing the big fella mix it up.
That's a big dude, man. That is a humongous guy.
Yep. And we got female lightweights fighting. We got Katie Taylor and Victoria Bustos. They're also mixing it up on that card. And up north of the border, we got the greatest Canadian fighter of all time, the women's champion, 8-time champion Jelena Mrdjenovic is fighting in her 50th bout up there in Edmonton. I wish Jelena good luck against her French woman, her fellow. I don't know if you would call him a Frenchman. I guess you would call her against the French woman that she's fighting on Saturday. A lot of boxing going down, a lot of good action. I'm going to try to hit you with maybe an espresso shot right before the fights, so that we can give you a deeper analysis. But moving on, the Boston Red Sox got no hit, ladies and gentlemen. The best team in baseball got no hit. And to me, it was pretty interesting that Sean Manaea was the guy to do it. There was some helpful scoring involved in that. Did you watch that?
Yeah, they got Benintendi.
He
thought he had him a knock, too.
Did. Got him a couple times.
Yeah.
One was that one when slid, with the tag. But the other one was the shortstop, who's that, Marcus Semien? The shortstop tried to make a catch, and basically it was an over-the-shoulder catch, a very difficult catch, and it bounced off of his glove, but they gave him an error on it instead of a hit.
This is another problem in baseball right now. Unfortunately, the official scorekeeping is a little loose right now. There's a lot of homerism going on.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. There is. There's a lot of that going down. And I don't know what you do to fix it. Because what are you going to bring in? Just an official scorekeeper that's not local?
Yeah, probably you can go over that. You know, you can have a guy or a group of people, another sanctioning body or something that would go over the games and then look back and say, you know what, that's a knock. You know, because you don't want guys to. I mean, I'm happy for Minea, but it's tainted love.
I don't know. I don't think
you ain't gonna taint it.
No, I'm not gonna taint it. I'm not gonna taint it.
Tainted love, tainted love.
Oh no, I don't think it's tainted love. It is what it is, and I think that now what's going down is we're going to see that the Boston Red Sox are going to have to explode to
teach somebody a lesson.
Yeah,
right?
teach somebody a lesson. Even though it's you can't win 125 games. They've barely lost any games. They've doubled their loss total against the A's this weekend.
Right, and that's Oakland's world championship right there, being able to do that. They're not. Everybody knows Oakland's not going anywhere. That's them. You know, they're going to hang that this season in their banners. This is it for them.
Right?
How can you get better than hitting the best team in baseball?
I don't know. I mean, you could make the playoffs. You can
no,
do that.
they can't.
Is what you could try to do. And the New York Yankees brought up famed
Lieber.
Yeah, famed prospect that we've been hearing about for feels like about a decade, since the kid was about 8 years old.
I know, right?
Gleyber Torres came up, and it was funny because Jaime Garcia carved him just out of his own anxiousness. But he looks, man, the kid's a stud.
He is a stud. That's why they had him. He's supposed to have been the successor to Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Until we found out that Didi Gregorius was.
Until we found out that Didi was serious.
Yeah, Didi was supposed to just be keeping it warm for him.
And he's
we got to move that kid over to the two bag. But that kid's supposed to be the real deal as well. The Yankees have a lot of talent. It's just how they're going to put it together. That's the question.
Well, and this is what Aaron Boone is being charged with doing. But they better hurry up and do it, because if the Red Sox stay hot like this, which they won't, but if they stay hot, you can get buried, and you can't afford that.
I think they're going to bury him. I think they're going to bury everybody.
Really?
Yeah, they're going to bury everybody in the East. And what's going to happen is that the teams like the Yankees are going to have to play for a wild card, which is a bad situation because you're going to probably have to play against somebody like Minnesota or the Angels. And it's a problem, because you're going to have to extend yourself so much to be able to get to that next level. And I really feel like the slow start is going to hurt them. Really bad.
You know that old adage, they say you can't win the pennant
but you can lose it.
In April, but you can lose it. We're going to see. I mean, I'm very happy with the way
they're back like 7.5 right now.
Baseball
right?
season is shaping up. Yeah, I think they're back 7.5.
It's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games early. I mean, Boston needs to get really cold. Oh, no, they're only back 5.5. That's not that many games.
Oh, because they lost the 2 to the...
They lost 2, and the Yankees won 2. The Yankees beat the Blue Jays twice.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, and the Yankees are now above 500. Toronto's got to be the surprise in that division, and they're playing over their heads, in my opinion, even though they got a lot of young talent.
Yeah.
They rebuilt the Cardinals in a lot of ways, but they got a lot of young talent over there getting it done. Hopefully we have all of the weather delays behind us for the most part, and we can actually get to playing ball. I think that has that plays a factor in it. And somebody that I'm always happy to talk about who got cheated in his money, but he proves and he shows and proves every single year is Mr. Johnny Cueto. And that's why you're wearing a Gigantes hat. I knew there was a reason. Johnny Cueto's the best pitcher in baseball, folks.
0.36.
35.
35. I'm sorry. I took a tenth away from him.
Can't do that.
I can't.
Can't take his tithe and offering, because he's offering up cheese and sliders.
And change-ups.
And change-ups.
And he shut down the
deliveries.
Angels. And he's... it's all about messing up timing. He has just enough velocity to get the ball by you. You can't sit on anything. He's a problem.
Yeah.
And he's been one of the best pitchers of the last, 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, without question.
Yeah, and nobody
speaks about it.
Nobody ever gives him credit.
He's right there with Kershaw and Scherzer and Bumgarner.
He just had a bad year last year.
Yeah, and he doesn't put up crazy numbers. He puts up good numbers.
Yeah, he puts up good numbers.
But he's consistent, and you want him there, except for when he was in Cincinnati. You want him there in the big game, except for against the Pirates. For some reason, they had his number. But other than that, he's a world champion. He went to Kansas City. He helped them get over the hump.
Yep. He's the real deal. He's like nobody.
And when his number came up, they gave Zach Greinke $216 million. He was struggling to get $125.
And Zach Greinke let you know off the top that he didn't want to be in a big time situation.
He let you know. I'm completely here for the vanity. Let's take the easy road.
Right.
Slow ride.
Take it
easy. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm happy with it. Mookie Betts looks like he's very upset that people don't talk about him being the best player in baseball anymore.
Which he is.
Because he's going crazy, going absolutely nuts.
They're still talking about, they still don't give him the props that he's in. If you don't consider him the best player in baseball, you have to give him at least the top 3.
There's nothing Mookie Betts can't do.
There's nothing he can't do well.
There's nothing on the baseball field that he can't do well. And he's a leadoff hitter now.
Yeah, he's a 5-tool player,
He's
man.
giving me Rick.
He's giving you Rick right now.
Give me Ricky Henderson.
Speaking of
That's
Rick,
saying
George Springer's
so
going to end up breaking Rick's record.
For leadoff home runs?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, these new guys got crazy pop. But if that was Rick's focus,
No question. Rick even told us.
I was about to say, don't. Let's not leave that as a one-sided argument there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that a guy like George Springer that's leading off games like he is, hitting those kind of home runs. I mean,
it's a crazy offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, still, now, if I'm starting an all-time fantasy draft, you can give me Ricky Henderson. As far as, maybe not for fantasy, but if I'm talking
all-time fantasy, who else are you looking at? Rick,
especially if you're in a league that gives double points for stolen bases.
Oh my goodness.
Are you crazy?
Walks.
130.
He bats like 320, 330,
He's
24
right
bombs.
285. It's still enough. It's enough.
20-something bombs.
20 bombs.
Ribeyes.
100 ribeyes. Maybe 80 ribeyes. 100 runs scored. 130 bags. I don't know how many walks. It's a problem.
It's a problem. He was all-time leader of walks before Barry Bonds juiced up and took it from him.
Good point. Touche. Oh, touche. Yeah. The Dodgers should hopefully get back on track because they're playing the minor leagues this week. They're playing the Miami Marlins. And
watch that kid over there. That kid is nice. Is it Jarlin?
Yeah. And they got that other kid, third base. It's really nice.
Yeah.
That kid's name Mike.
Brian Anderson.
Brian Anderson. Very
Mr.
plain
Anderson.
name. Yeah. Oh, you know what I was happy to see?
What?
I was happy to see Tyson Ross come back.
Yeah, he's dealing. I think that they played a bit with him with his no-hitter bit because usually when you watch a guy who throws that many pitches, and I'm not even a believer in the pitch count.
130 pitches, like the next time he's coming out,
right, the next time he's coming out, he's getting dug.
Unless he's Corey Kluber or Verlander.
Yeah, he's getting gutted. But did they throw 130 pitches? In their no-hit bid?
No, those guys throw like 106.
Yeah.
They get it. It's a tight no-hitter.
It was an efficient no-hitter. His wasn't efficient like that. He was struggling at the end, and he's just coming off a major injury.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. I wouldn't doubt if he struggles.
He may be one of the few guys that actually bounces back from thoracic outlet surgery. Yeah. I really hope he is.
Yeah.
Because the homie Matt is struggling, and they're putting him in the bullpen.
And he's sour.
Yeah. And
I'm not mad at him. He's supposed to be sour. You're not supposed to enjoy that.
No.
He was the king of New York for a long time.
Sure was.
Not for a long time, but
for a good year and a half, maybe
nice
2 years.
Pinch.
For more than most people ever get to smell it.
Right.
Let's say that. Wow. All right, well, we're going to keep that one moving. Actually, I want to cover something, and I got a caller. Who wants to speak on the state of the NBA with a playoff update.
Hey, what's up, folks?
DC Sly, live on the OZone. You sound like they got you trapped in the closet. Is R. Kelly with you?
What's going on, man?
Long time. Got DC Sly back for, if no other reason, because his beloved Indiana Pacers are in the process of blowing a 2-0 lead against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. What's happening in the NBA, Bird? What happened? DC Sly? I thought Oladipo had it.
First of all, I got to say, I love the smell of fresh playoffs in the morning, man.
Because they're playing from the time you wake up on the West Coast, the games are on.
Which is lovely.
Man.
The Icons in the house?
I'm here. I'm listening to you, baby.
Yo, I got to start off by saying I got to give props to Icons. I think a while back, we got a good laugh when he said Drew Holiday was a superstar.
Yeah.
Stop it. And because you know why? Because he wasn't a superstar, and he still isn't a superstar. Yes. He's playing well, but he's not a superstar.
Yes, he's a superstar.
Anthony Davis is a superstar.
No, he's a superstar.
Drew Holiday is not a superstar.
Drew Holiday's numbers are through. Look at Oladipo. I said the same thing about him.
And now Oladipo is a star. When you're talking about superstar, you're talking about guys that your average fan does not know who Drew Holiday is. They don't even know how to say his name.
Drew.
It's Drew. It's not Drew.
Drew. Or
it's Drew League.
Or like Victor. How is it? Oladipo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but
you know what? These guys are lighting it up. And
young guys.
Yeah, these young guys and they Oladipo had the potential. He was playing well in
OKC.
No, he was in Miami, not Miami.
Orlando.
Orlando.
He sure was.
Before he went to go play.
I liked him in Orlando more than I even like him now.
No,
I watch his game now, And honestly, and I'm not mad at this game now, obviously, but I watch this game now and I can see why, with the proper adjustments and with the defense focusing on him, how they can slow him down and shut him down.
I don't believe they can shut him down.
Not shut him down.
Yeah,
you can't shut down any scorer in the NBA now.
I just think that when you go play with Russell Westbrook, then you become a doorstop. That's where your career goes to die.
I can't believe it.
No,
I
we
can't
have to
believe
agree
that.
to disagree and just
let's keep it pushing.
Alone, I guess. No, but man, the Pacers. The Pacers got a better team. They're better than the Cavs. I think LeBron is just mind over matter. He's on his Dianetics, L. Bron Hubbard, and put the team on his back.
Hubbard. I love it.
Put the team on his back. Team on his back.
He's the
man.
MVP, man. Everybody needs to stop playing.
Every year, and everybody acts like he's not, and he is.
He's the MVP.
As much as you hate him or whoever don't like it, whatever.
I saw some crazy number that Colin Cowherd put out today. Some crazy stat, which is when LeBron James isn't on the court for the couple of minutes that he actually does sit out, the Cleveland Cavaliers are neg 20. When James Harden is not on the court, when he's not traveling on the court, he's actually catching a flight and traveling somewhere to the strip club. No, when James Harden isn't on the court, the Houston Rockets are plus 36. So what this really says is that LeBron James is everything to this team.
It's unbelievable because you're watching this guy. He's got 3 people guarding him, and he still puts up monster numbers.
And all he needs is a little help. Yesterday's game, Kyle Korver gave him a little help.
Yes.
And all he had to do was to get a little bit of the attention off of him so he could go get busy. And I give it to the Pacers. The Pacers actually tried the tactic that I would try if I was playing him, and they tried to rough him up.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I love Lance. I love Lance. I think Lance is the only player ever I've seen really get under his skin like that.
He really does frustrate him. And Bron plays a good job. He does a good job of acting like it doesn't bother him.
But he gave him some himself, though. He gave Lance some last night.
He did. Yeah, he gets in there on him. I love it. Yeah, it's a good series to watch too.
It's a good series to watch, but I think that we've just watched the Cleveland Cavaliers and the rest and LeBron supporting cast wake up and recognize, like, wait a minute. So all we have to do is a bare minimum, and he can do everything. All right, I can do that. And I'm going to tell you something else. I think George Hill is, I won't go as far as to say he's a loser, but I don't think George Hill is the fit there. And I've never thought that George Hill was a big-time player when he was in San Antonio, when he was anywhere else, or when he was in Indiana, for that matter. And him not starting actually helped them last night.
Well,
him being hurt.
Bad back, huh?
Yeah, but it helped him because Calderon is there to play. Calderon is like an improved Dellavedova, if you will.
Well, I like Jordan Clarkson.
Craftier, right?
Little craftier.
Yeah,
I like Jordan Clarkson a lot.
Off the bench.
But what Calderon did was he plays with an edge. He's not, you know what I mean? He's not messing around.
What else the Cavs had too was the refs.
But then there's that.
Man.
I don't really agree with that.
I think that's the Indiana homer. Indiana homer is talking there.
My problem with the refs and everything.
Let's pull up the free throw numbers.
But Indiana wasn't attacking like that. One of my problems is that, which all the NBA is just 3 crazy. My problem is that you can almost call a foul when LeBron touches the ball every single time, just like when Shaq was in the league. And we really don't respect him as the superstar that he is.
I agree with that.
So they really just blow it off like well, you're LeBron, so we get the fouling. And so when you talk about, the disparity in the free throws, it's not valid.
If they called fouls for LeBron like they called for Harden, LeBron might put up 60 a night, 50 a night. Honestly.
That's true. Harden's whole game is based off of drawing the foul. He's like LeBron. He's like LeBron and Manu Ginobili had a baby or something.
And what did they name it? What did they name that baby?
They named him James Harden.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. So do you think the Pacers can come back?
I do. I gotta say I do.
What are the adjustments they can make? Because the problem that I see is they get caught up. They need to go to the rack and pound, and they get caught up in the 3-point. They get caught up in the 3-point game for no reason. All these teams are caught up in the 3-point game for no reason.
Even the Cavaliers,
especially the Cavaliers.
And that's not even that game. The Cavs have always done that, though. If you look at the last few years, that's not the Pacers' game. You're right. They need to take it to the rack more. And that's pretty much it. I take it to the rack. I think Oladipo just needs to attack, get to the hoop a lot more, like he usually does, and I think they're good. I think they can wear them out. The longer the series goes, the worse it is for LeBron. I mean,
but not for Indiana. He'll be all right with Indiana. They're going to be.
It'll be worse for LeBron in future rounds, especially because honestly, the sleeper team in the playoffs on East and West, in my opinion, are the Philadelphia 76ers and
the Pelicans.
I don't think the Pelicans are real. I think they just shot their wad. Are the Minnesota Timberwolves? I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves can beat the Rockets because D'Antoni teams are always eligible to get upset when anybody plays any kind of defense. Always. And honestly, they could have snatched one. They could have snatched one in Houston. That game one, I do believe it was. They could have won that game one. Or was it two?
Yeah.
It was game one.
It was one, right?
Yeah, it was game one.
Yeah, again, Karl Anthony Towns, man, he's still pretty young for a big man, but for them to win, he's got to be dominant like he was that last game. He's got to really.
He just got to be included. I think he's going to be dominant if he's included.
But hasn't he putting up a double-double every game so far?
Yeah, but he only got like 9 shots the first 2 games.
I mean, that team is full of superstars.
That team is stacked. I don't know about they're full of superstars, but they're stacked.
I mean, they have Teague.
You love a good superstar. This guy is the most liberal superstar in the world. By the way, Ernie's a superstar engineer.
He is.
You're my superstar.
That's my man. But what are you talking about? That team is stacked. You got Andrew Wiggins.
Not a superstar.
To you, but you
to the world.
No, to you in Minnesota.
Come on.
And then you have Teague.
Why do you do
this?
Have Teague.
Why do you do this? You have Teague. You have Jimmy Butler.
Teague is not a superstar.
You have Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler is
and
a superstar.
you have Kat. Karl Anthony Towns is not a superstar. Are you crazy?
Karl Anthony Towns is an all-star. He's a star.
A superstar.
Superstars don't get 9 shots in a game.
But they shouldn't, but he did. But come on, dude. This is 420. This is not 420. Come on. My brother is reverting back to 420. His memory, his mind is messed up. Here, dude.
You're crazy, bro.
Go ahead.
Crazy, dude. No way, man.
Superstars or not. Man, what I did want to say about Houston though is, living in Phoenix for 6 years, I got to watch those D'Antoni teams out there, and I got to see the cheating up close and personal. But that's a whole different story. But all they're really doing, I mean, you see it. CP3 is playing Nash's role. Harden is playing Raja Bell's role, although 10 times better. And what's his name? Capella is in the Stoudemire role.
But see, this is why guys like D'Antoni get paid endlessly. It's because they create a system that they can duplicate. And in that, you see it. He actually has done a good job of duplicating his system in 3 different cities. It's just that his system doesn't win championships. His system is entertaining.
The no defense system?
And it's a pure offense system, and it's entertaining. I actually think this is the best incarnation because of the roster that we've seen of it. Because you also have big guys who play D. You got big guys like Nene. You got big guys like Capella who are two-way guys, Yeah,
they're giving him his dream personnel for the system, I think.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And every year, I think the league becomes a little bit more friendly to that style as well. So, I mean...
Oh, no question.
Especially when you allow James Harden to travel.
I mean, come on, dude. That's too far.
Yeah, that move was ridiculous. I give him credit, though. It was so smooth. It was so smooth and real speed, you didn't even notice it.
No, it just looked like a nice dance move. Just look nice. But now there's one last thing I want to post to you about the NBA and where they are right now, which is, it used to be just unanimous that the West was a better division, a better conference than the East. But if we look at the lack of parity now, we're looking at 2 potential sweeps in the West and none in the East. Even though San Antonio squeaked out a game, I don't think anybody expects them to actually put up much more of a fight. Do you think the power balance has changed and the East is actually a mammoth?
It's starting to swing. It's starting to even out, I say. I think the East is obviously more well-balanced in their top teams, as you see with the finish there in the playoff race and everything. So I definitely agree with that. And the young talent, I mean, they got some great young talent over there with Philly and Milwaukee. And so, there's a swing. There's a swing starting. I'll give them that.
I just think that it's interesting. I like it too because it makes, since the NBA is insistent on milking the first round to be 7 games, you now at least have teams that are, it's not like how LeBron has been running through the East and it's really like, man, this is ridiculous. Why does he have to play these games? You're just waiting for a guy to get hurt. It's like he shouldn't even have been playing right now. It's an extra game. And now you see what's going on. I think the Wizards have come out and made a very big statement coming back and winning there too. Toronto is like the D'Antoni of the East in the sense that they're always suspect. You can always you could get by Toronto. I don't care what their ranking is. Toronto is not above the law on giving you an upset opportunity.
Toronto is hoping that LeBron loses so bad they don't know what to do.
They better be worried about getting out of DC.
They can't beat LeBron. I don't care. I mean, it's almost him playing by himself. They have a great team, a well above average team. They really do. And they just can't get it together.
There's a mental lack there.
It is. That's the only thing I could say. It's got to be a mental issue. There's no reason on paper they shouldn't just run through the East and get to the championship, the Eastern Conference Championship. But I mean,
we know they won't
every year. No, they won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got teams like the Celtics with all their injuries and, coming back next year, as long as they stay healthy, I can see them being dominant.
I don't know, man.
He's pretty stacked.
I don't see anybody beating Philadelphia for the next few years once they learn how to win. I think the coach needs to learn how to win. There. I mean, forget about it. I wonder if him going there would even mess up the team, to be honest. But they got a lot of talent, like crazy nuts over the top talent. But either way it goes, it's going to be interesting to watch them develop.
Right, exactly. And that starting lineup is just long. I mean, you got 7 foot, 6'10", 6'10", 6'9".
Right.
Man.
Right.
That's it.
And you really
Milwaukee was trying to put something together like that too with that link. So that seems to be the new prototype.
Jason Kidd messed that up.
Tell us how you really feel.
Jason Kidd messed that up.
It's upset. All right, DC Sly, thanks for calling in. We'll check in with you before the series is over to see if the Pacers are still in the game.
And thanks for giving me my props. It's hard to come by in the OZone.
Doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I figured I'd give you something.
Thank you for throwing me a bone.
You're a superstar caller.
You are. In OZone.
Don't prove me wrong. Don't keep throwing it out there like that, though.
That's He trying to bring me down.
I'm not trying to bring him down.
He's trying to bring me down.
No, I'm trying to bring him to reality. He got to pay. All right, Sly. We'll talk to you soon.
Late.
All right, y'all.
Oh, man. Always fun with the friends of the OZone. That's about all I got, folks. Wanted to send out a shout out to everybody dealing with depression and darkness right now. Lost a buddy this weekend, Vern Troyer, known to the world as Mini-Me, amongst many other roles that he played. Great dude. The guy was going through a lot, and it got the best of him in the end. Thank God he was baptized before he checked out. But if you are feeling down about yourself, ladies and gentlemen, reach out to your friend circle, and if they don't respond, reach out farther than that. There's nothing wrong with seeking help when you need it. We're all in this thing together. I want to leave you with a quote. A quote from Dan Gable. That's who I'm going to go with on this one. And this is a metaphor, folks, so follow me. Gold medals aren't really made of gold. They're made of sweat, determination, and a hard-to-find alloy called guts. This is true, and this can apply to your life and mine. I'm your host, Omar Miller, and this is the OZone.
OZone.